friends, Iain from RTO here. Welcome to another snowy day in Northampton. I'm sure everywhere in the UK has got this white stuff everywhere. It's snowing quite hard at the moment here. Anyway, great night on live stream last night. We had Art and Vinyl Dale join in the live stream, which was excellent. We heard from Mastermind Dave, and it was a good live stream. So Friday, being live album ranking day, is a little bit different this week. The reason being that the other week I was going through my collection and I thought there's some bands here that have only ever released one live album. So it got me thinking. So I went through my collection of what one-off albums I've got of live material by that band, and I found 16. So I thought I would share them with you. So just going to go straight into it. So coming in at number 16, this is a thing called Various Rock Super Rock Summit, Cozy Powell Forever. Now this was sort of a tribute to Cozy Powell and the music he played on during his career. And basically people from Japanese rock bands. Now this was released in Japan, but I managed to get it, and it was released in 1999. Now my Japanese isn't that brilliant. So on bass guitar we've got Hideki Yamata with some twist, Masayoshi Yasamata from Loudness, we've all heard of them. Drums was Munetaka Huchiki from Loudness. Now this is one I have heard because I like this band. The keyboards were Rei Atasumi from Powell, lead guitar Akori Tasaka from Loudness, I've heard of them, and lead vocals done by various people. We've got Kilo Terada from Shoya, Minaru Naru from Loudness, and Ichi Akazawa for Twinza. So basically these are all tracks that Cozy's played on, and the set they put together here was Kill the King, obviously a Rainbow track, War Pigs. Now I know he didn't record it, but he played it live on live albums, like Mistreated from Deep Purple. Still I'm Sad he played on live. Then we get a drum solo from Hoochie. Then we get Burn, Long Live Rock and Roll, Stargazer, which is pretty cool. A Light in the Black. Now there's not many live versions of that at all, and it was just great to hear a live version of that. All Night Long. Now it's not too bad. High pitched vocals. The crowd went wild, and it sounded pretty good. And I can't complain. I picked this up for a couple of quid, so I'm not going to complain. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay then, coming in at number 15, we have an album by the Mamas Boys, and it's called Live Tonight. Now I've seen these a few times, and this was recorded on tour in England, Austria, Spain and Switzerland during November, December of 1990. We've got Pat McManus on the lead guitar, John McManus on the bass, and the late Tommy McManus on drums. Sadly died in 1994, of course, of cancer. I think it was leukemia to be precise. And Mike Wilson on lead vocals. Tracks on here are Hot Blood, Bedroom Eyes. These are all off the Grown Up the Hard Way album, Walk All Over Me, Rescue Me, the classic Needle in the Groove. Love that track. My Way Home, Last Thing at Now, Lonely Soul, one of my favourite tracks, Runaway Dreams, Fall in the Straightforward, No Coming Back, The Beast, and then they do a cover of, it's like a studio acoustic of This Flight Tonight, done in the Journey Mitchell sort of style, not the Nazareth. It's not a bad album. A lot of them tracks off that Grown Up the Hard Way were quite 80s synthy sound, but live they sound a lot better. It's a shame there's not enough more of the old sort of stuff on there, like Letting Go and various things there, but which is a shame. But it's still a good listen, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay then, here's a surprise for you, coming in at number 14. Now this was released in 2014. And it's Mel C live at the Shepherd's Bush. Now what she done, she released an album, and then she also released, because it was celebrating her 40th birthday, she released a track every day for 12 days. Now I've got the whole thing, so you've got an intro, Rock Me, great. Yeah Yeah, Weak, Northern Star, which sounds great. Never Be the Same Again, Beautiful Intentions, really good version. A great version of Suddenly Monday. Both sides now. And then out comes Emma Bunton to sing I Know Him So Well, which she did on the stages. One by One featured James Walsh. Burn, not the Deep Purple. Carolina, like that track. Next Best Superstar, then the brilliant Going Down. That really rocks on this album. When You're Gone, which he did with Bryan Adams, of course. Think About It, Enemy, Stupid Game, and Turn to You. Now, this is sort of one of my guilty pleasures, Melanie C. I think she's one of the best. She was the best singer in the Spice Girls, and her solo stuff is brilliant. I have obviously ranked them, but this is the only live album she's ever put out, and it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's actually on YouTube as well, the whole concert, which is pretty good. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.4. Okay, then coming at number 13. Now this is a compilation album. Castle Donington, Monsters of Rock. Mentioned this album before on the channel. Recorded at the very first Donington on the 16th of August 1980. And the tracks you got on here are Rainbow doing Stargazer, and the lineup of Rainbow on this was Ritchie Blackmore, Cozy Powell, Roger Glover, Graham Bonnet and Don Airy. Great track, just brilliant. Then we get the Scorpions. They do 2 tracks on this one. Loving You Sunday Morning, great track, and Another Piece of Meat. And the band at the time was Rudolf Schenker, Klaus Meine, Matthias Jobs, Francis Bolsh and Herbal Rebel. The great lineup. Then we have the Mighty Saxon doing Backs to the Wall. Biff, Paul Quinn, Graham Oliver, Steve Dawson and Pete Gill. On the second side we got All Night Long, Rainbow again, where you got Graham Bonnet doing his Percy Throw impressions. Then we get a great track from a great band called April Wine and their track I Like to Rock. April Wine at the time were Miles Goodwin on the vocals and guitars, Gary Moffat guitars, Steve Lang on the bass, Brian Greenway on vocals and Jerry Mercer on the drums. That is a great track, a band that we will feature on the channel at some stage. Then we get Touch, another band that's forgotten about, and then the track Don't You Want to Know What Love Is. Now this band were Craig Brooks on guitars, Mark Mangold on keyboards, Doug Howard bass, Glenn Kitchart on the drums. That's a good track, I like that. And then we got Riot, band Riot, another band from them days, and their brilliant track Road Racing. It's Guy Speranza on lead vocals, Mark Real on lead guitar, Rick Ventura rhythm, Sandy Selvin on drums, and Kip Lemon, who's played with lots of people now, on bass. It's a great little album. Again, I picked this up very cheaply. I think they could have ditched a couple of one of the Scorpions, and they should have had a Priest song on there, because Priest was also on the bill. But it's a great album. It's a bit of nostalgia, and I enjoy listening to this, and I'll give this one an RTO ranking of a 6.5. Okay then, coming in at number 12, go to one of the modern bands, and another band we did rank way at the beginning of the channel. And the album is Over the Years and Through the Woods from the Queen of the Stone Age. This was released in 2005, and it was recorded at the Brixton Academy. The band at the time were Josh Home on lead vocals and guitars and bass, Troy Van Leeuwen on guitar, Alan Jonas on bass, Joey Castillo on the drums, and Natasha Schneider on keyboards. The songs on this, we got Go for the Flow from the Songs of the Deaf, great track that is, Regular John from the debut album, Monsters in in a Parasol from Rated R. Then we get 2 tracks from Lullabies to Paralyze, Tangled Up in Played and Little Sister. Then You Can't Quit Me Baby from Queen of the Stone Age, I Wanna Make It With You, and from El Vargas, Leg of Lamb from Rated R, I Think I Lost My Headache, Mexicola, Burn to the Witch, Song for the Dead, which is brilliant, No One Knows, absolutely stonking live version, and Long Long Slow Goodbye. It's a really good live album. But what really spoils it, when you go to concerts, there's always your usual idiot. Now Josh picks on this all the time. I don't think it's very professional. If anyone's been in it, yeah, you mention it once, but you don't keep returning to it. Sort of puts a mocker because it's all the way through. But I do like this album. It's raw Queens of the Stone Age, and I'll give this an RTO ranking of a 6.7. Okay, coming in at number 11. Now this is a little EP that I've got, and I couldn't do this without putting this on, because this was one of my favourite bands in the early 90s, and it's Little Angels, and this is live at the Hammersmith Odeon. It was recorded in 1991. So you've got Toby Jepson on the vocals, Mark Richardson on drums, who's drummed with Skunk Anise, of course, Mark Plunkett on bass, Bruce John Dickinson on guitars, and Jimmy Dickinson on the keyboards. Opens up with the brilliant She's a Little Angel. I love that track. Boneyard, another great track. Product of the Working Class, cool track as well. Young God, Stand Up, Stand Up, brilliant. The wonderful I Ain't Gonna Cry, and then you get a message from Toby. There is not much live Little Angels. It's a band that I never got to see, but I do love their music. Again, I have ranked them and they are in there, so just look in the album ranking playlist or just put Little Angels and it'll pop up. But I love this, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of a 7 out of 10. Okay, coming at number 10. Another good band that's surprising that's never released more than one live album, and that's Faith No More. Live at the Brixton Academy. It came out in 91 and was recorded in 1990. The band at the time were Mike Patton on the vocals, Jim Martin on guitars, Billy Gould bass, Roddy Bottom on keyboards, and Mike Bourdin on drums. Tracks you get on here are Falling to Pieces, which is absolutely brilliant. The Real Thing, great live, lots of energy, epic, absolutely belting on here. War Pigs, which they covered from Black Sabbath. From Out of Nowhere, brilliant. We Care a Lot. Then my favourite track on here is Zombie Eaters, absolutely brilliant. And Edge of the World, okay, it's only a single album, which is a shame, it should have been a double, but it's got some great songs off their first 2 albums. It's a really good live album, and I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay then, coming at number 9, it's an album that we reviewed last year on the channel, and it's Roger Taylor and the Outsider Tour, recorded on his tour of 2022, 2021. So we got Roger Taylor on drums and vocals, Spike Anthony on the keyboards, Christian Menzer on guitar, Neil Fairclough plays the bass, Tyler Warren does some drums, and Christian Heisen is a multi-instrumentalist who plays everything. On here we get Strange Frontier. I've always liked that track, one of my favourite songs by Roger Taylor. Then we get the brilliant Tenement Funster, you know, a track I never heard Queen do, brilliant. We're all just trying to get by, that song that he did with Katie Tunstall, brilliant. A Nation of Haircuts, really great song from Electric Fire, heavy. Then he does These Are Our Days of Our Lives. Up is the next one. Gangsters Are Running the World, love that live. Absolutely Anything. Surrender. Man on Fire, the track that he recorded with Rick Parfitt. Rocket Prime Drive, really does kick on this. Under Pressure, sounds pretty good. Say It's Not True. I'm in Love with My Car, one of his great little tracks he did with Queen. Outsider, More Kicks, Foreign Sand, Tutti Frutti, Kind of Magic. Then he does Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll, Bowie's Heroes, and then Radio Gaga. It's a great live album. Love listening to this because it's got a bit of everything on there for you. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, and coming at number 8. Now this is a band that we have featured on the channel, and I'm surprised again they've never only had one live album, and it's Ghost and Ceremony and Devotion that came out in 2017, and it was recorded in San Francisco on the Pope Star tour. And he goes under the name of Papa Emeritus on here, and the band, of course, is the Nameless Ghouls. You get a great version of Square Hammer on this, From the Pinnacle to the Pit, Conclavio con Dio, Per Aspera ad Inferi, Elizabeth, which I love, Body and Blood, Devil Church, Circle, Gulia Zombie Queen, Year Zero, Spooks Nut, He Is, Mummy Dust, which is fantastic live, Secular Haze, Absolution, Ritual, and Monstrous Clock. Great live album. I think Ghost sound a lot better live than in the studio. Tobias has got one hell of a voice. I love listening to this again, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, then coming at number 7, we've got an album from 2005, and it's Gun, the Scottish rock band. Love this band when they came out. It's one of these mixtures. It's got live concert, and then it's got stuff they did on Radio Clyde and everything. The band, the people that actually feature on this are Mark Rankin on vocals, Giuliano Gizzi guitar, Baby Stafford guitar, Dante Gizzi bass, Scott Shields drums, and Mark Kerr is also on the drums on here. Opens up with Money. Everybody loves it. One of my favourite tracks. When You Love Somebody, Someone, Something to Believe In, brilliant. I'll Be Waiting, I love that. Better Days, which is their big hit, and Taking on the World, can't get any lower, love that. They need to do a great version of Thin Lizzy's Don't Believe a Word, Coming Home, Shame on You, The Feeling Within. These are all great tracks. Inside You. Then they do a version of Prince's Let's Go Crazy. Then they do Pretty Vacant. And then you get Suffragette City from Mr. Bowie, Children of the Revolution, T-Rex, Killing in the Name of, Going Down, Crazy for You, My Sweet Jane, Still Your Fire, Welcome to the Real World, and acoustic is like Better Days and Acoustic from Radio Clyde. Really good album. Saw these about I saw them twice on their own, and I saw them when they supported Def Leppard. Amazing band. Love this band to this day, and I'll give this an RTO ranking of 7.9. Now coming in at number 6, another band that I've seen a couple of times, and that's Dare. Now this is called the Power of Nature live in Munich, and it was recorded at the Deep Impact Open Air Festival in 2004. The band at the time were Darren Wharton on vocals, Gavin Mart on drums, Ricky Dews on guitar, Andrew Moore guitar, and Mark Roberts on keyboards. We're doing lots of songs from their album at the time. I can't remember which one it was. Got Sea of Roses on here, Stormwind, Where the Darkness Ends, Silent Hills, Sunday, Silent Fire, We Will Return, Song for a Friend, and White Horses. Great live album. If you like sort of Celtic rock, these are a great band. Yes, I have ranked them. They are on the channel. Go and check them out. There's a playlist with their songs on as well. So I love this album. I play this one a lot, especially on a Sunday, because it's a nice gentle live album. I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Coming at number 5, got another member of Queen. The album he did at the Brixton Academy in 1993. It's Brian May on vocals, Jamie Moses rhythm guitar, Spike Edney as ever on the keyboards, Mr. Neil Murray on the bass, and the brilliant Cozy Powell drums, got Catherine Porter and Shelley Preston doing vocals. And Shelley Preston's actually credited as playing the tambourine. On here we got Back to Light, great track, love Brian's guitar work. Driven by You, known to many as the advert for the Ford Probe. Then he goes into Tie Your Mother Down, get Love Token, Headlong, which is a lot heavier than the studio version. Then we get Love of My Life. Even Brian admit he can't sing it, so the crowd do it. Then you get the wonderful 39, Let Your Heart Rule Your Head. I love this track. Too Much Love Will Kill You. I like that. Then you got Since You Be Gone from Rainbow, because you've got Cozy playing with him. Now I'm Here, brilliant stuff. Then you get one of that little Brian guitar solo from Brighton Rock. Resurrection, great track. Last Horizon. Then we get We Will Rock You and Hammer to Fall. Okay, I did sort of do it when I did the Brahmo, but I couldn't do this without this because I love this album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay, then coming in at number 4, we've got Emerson, Lake, and Cozy Powell again. 3 times he gets a mention today, and this is from Live in Concert, came out in 2010. Now there's been a bootleg of this going around for years. Most people had got it. It wasn't the best bootleg, but it was actually recorded in Florida in 1986, and eventually it came out as a proper album in 2010, which was really good. So it's Greg Lake on the vocals, of course, Mr. Keith Emerson on the keyboards, and the mighty Cozy Powell doing what he's good at. So the tracks on here, you get lots of stuff off that ELP album and some of the classics from ELP. So you've got the score, Touch and Go from Emerson, Lake and Powell, even better live. Knife Edge, great track. Pirates, From the Beginning, Lucky Man, Fanfare for the Common Man, and the best thing on here is the last few bits. You get Mars, the Bringer of War, which they do on the Emerson, Lake and Powell. Get Cozy's drum solo, then it goes into this medley of Carnival Part 2, America and Rhonda. Honestly, you can't tell the difference. It's all ELP to me. Doesn't matter if it's Palmer or Powell. It sounds great. Cozy really drums well on the ELP stuff. I love this album. Doesn't spoil it. And I'm going to give this an RTO of 8.4. Okay, coming in at number 3. Now, this is a band that have got a new album coming out this year. Can't wait for that. I've heard one track off it already and it sounds good. We're talking about Sparks, and believe it or not, they've only ever released one album, and it's not a full album of live music. It's called Two Hands One Mouth, and it's the Live in Europe, and it was released in 2013. This is from a tour from 2012 that Ron and Russell did, and they got it. Two hands, of course, Ron's on the keyboard and Russell the one mouth. So this is like an acoustic Spark set. So you get, they come on, they do this overture, which includes I Married Myself, Looks, 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 Good Morning, the #1 song, This Town, Dick Around, Never Turn, Everything, Sunburn Home by I Married Myself. Then they go into the real set. You got Hospitality on Parade from Indiscreet, Metaphor from Hello Young Lovers, Propaganda from Propaganda, of course, At Home, At Work, At Play from Propaganda, Sherlock Holmes from Angst in My Pants, Good Morning, Exotic Creatures from the Deep, Under the Table with Her from Indiscreet, My Baby's Talking Me Home, Little Beethoven. Now that sounds even better. Then we got Singing in the Shower, The Wedding of Jacqueline Kennedy, excerpts from The Seduction of Bergman, Dick Around, which is a great track anyway. It's a really good sort of acoustic version. Never Gonna Turn Your Back on Mother Earth, brilliant. This House Ain't Bigger Than Enough for the Both of Us sounds really good as this piano sort of key thing and keyboard, really good. The Rhythm Thief, Sunburn Homeboy, Where Do I Get to Sing My Way, Congratulous sax and Census violins. Then you get an encore and you get Number One Song in Heaven, brilliant. Beat the Clock. And then there's a track that's never been heard, Two House One Mouse, especially written for this. I think this is a brilliant, brilliant album. When you think it's just two, no drums on it, it's wonderful. And Russell sounded great. Ron is just an amazing. These are such two great musicians. I love this album, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, coming in number 2. We have a band called Sons of Apollo, and live with the Plovdiv Psychotic Symphony Orchestra, of course. Sons of Apollo, one of these super groups. We've got drums and vocals by Mike Portnight, guitars by Ron Bumblefoot, keyboards Derek Sheridan, lead vocals Jeff Scott Soto, and we've got the Plovdiv Psychotic Symphony Orchestra on here. So you get songs off their albums. God of the Sun's brilliant. It's an epic. Signs of the Time, Divine Addiction, That Metal Show theme, Just Breathe, and I forgot to mention Billy Sheehan is on bass as well, because he does a solo. We get Lost in Oblivion, and then Jeff Soto does this solo thing. He sings 2 Queen songs. First one he does a little bit of the Prophet song, then he does Save Me, which is absolutely amazing. Then we get Alive, and then we go into a little bit of nonsense. You get the Pink Panther theme, Opus Maximus, a brilliant version of Kashmir, a fantastic version of Gates of Babylon, Labyrinth, a wonderful version of Dream On, Diary of a Madman. These are great covers. Comfortably Numb, The Show Must Go On. They even do a Dream Theater track, Hell's Kitchen, Lines in the Sand, Bumble guitar solo. Then we get And the Cradle Will Rock from Van Halen and Coming Home. This is a brilliant live album from brilliant musicians. Their own stuff's brilliant, but the covers they do on there are amazing. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.8. Now my number 1. It's just a surprise that this band are such a brilliant band. They've made a lot of albums, but only one live album. And that band is Symphony X. And the Live at the Edge of Forever, recorded during 2000 on their European tour and released in 2001. So the band is Russell Allen on vocals, of course, the great Michael Romeo on guitar, Michael Pinella on keyboards, Michael LaPond on bass, and Jason Rouleau on drums. Get this sort of prelude first, then they do Evolution, the Grand Design, Fallen and Transcendence, Communion and Oracle, The Bird Serpent War, a little bit of A Breath of Poseidon, The Brilliant Egypt, The Death of Balance, and Candlelight Fantasia mixed together. The Eyes of Medusa is just killer on here. Smoke and Mirrors, Church of the Machine, Through the Looking Glass, On the Sins of the Shadows, the Sea of Lies, and the whole of the track, the Divine Wings of Tragedy, which is absolutely boombastic. It's just having this album for that track. This is a superb album. I love this live album. I love Symphony X. They're one of the best progressive metal bands in the business. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. So there we go. There's some of my sort of live albums from bands that have only released one. Okay, be back soon because we've got a brand new album review to do, and it's the new album from the one and only Mr. Rick Wayman and the rock ensemble, A Gallery of the Imagination. So go and check that out, and I will see you later. Bye for now.